What if the US Navy just unveiled the most dangerous weapon in history? You're about to hear a story that the world isn't ready for. A weapon so advanced, so silent, and so unstoppable that it's forcing China and Russia into a full-blown panic mode. This isn't some sci-fi fantasy. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is the Columbia-class ballistic missile submarine. A $113 billion nuclear Leviathan that can disappear beneath the waves, strike anywhere on the planet, and end entire nations in a single mission. The US military isn't just upgrading its fleet. It's rewriting the rules of global warfare. And the world is watching in fear. Because once this submarine hits the water, there's no turning back. For decades, nuclear submarines have been the ultimate insurance policy. A weapon of last resort. A ghost fleet lurking beneath the ocean, waiting for the order that no one wants to give. But the Columbia-class is something else entirely. It's not just replacing the aging Ohio-class submarines. It's erasing their weaknesses. It's multiplying their firepower. And it's becoming an invisible force of destruction, unlike anything before it. Here's what makes it so terrifying. It's dead silent. Using electric drive propulsion, it doesn't just run quietly. It's virtually undetectable. Enemy sonar? Useless. Underwater drones? Hopeless. This thing vanishes into the abyss. It never needs refueling. The Columbia-class is equipped with a next-generation nuclear reactor that never requires midlife refueling, meaning it can stay hidden in deep waters for decades. It can destroy entire nations. Armed with Trident II D5 nuclear missiles, each carrying multiple thermonuclear warheads, it can wipe out millions in a single strike. And the worst part? No one will ever see it coming. No satellites can track it. No sonar can detect it. No defense system can stop it. This is beyond deterrence. This is unparalleled nuclear dominance. And the US Navy just went all in. $113 billion. That's more than the GDP of some countries. So why is the US throwing mountains of cash into building these submarines? Because right now, China and Russia are preparing for war. China is building up its navy at an unprecedented rate, launching aircraft carriers, stealth destroyers, and nuclear-armed submarines. Russia is modernizing its own boomer fleet, developing hypersonic missiles, and flexing its nuclear arsenal like never before. The US military cannot afford to fall behind. And that means dominating the ocean before our enemies even set foot in it. The Columbia-class is America's final insurance policy. A silent, unstoppable deep-sea assassin that ensures no one will ever challenge US nuclear superiority. This isn't just a new submarine. This is a guarantee that the US holds all the cards in the next global conflict. Imagine this. A crisis breaks out. China threatens Taiwan. Russia invades another European country. North Korea tests another nuclear missile. Tensions escalate. The world teeters on the edge. And then, somewhere in the depths of the Pacific or Atlantic, a Columbia-class submarine receives its orders. It rises just enough to launch multiple Trident II D5 missiles, each carrying up to 12 nuclear warheads, each warhead capable of wiping out an entire city. Within minutes, entire enemy command structures, naval fleets, and strategic locations are vaporized. The war is over before it even begins. This is why China and Russia fear the Columbia-class, because even if they strike first, they cannot destroy what they can't see. This submarine ensures America will always have the last move. And in nuclear warfare, the last move is all that matters. Let's be real. A weapon this powerful doesn't just sit quietly on the global stage. It forces other nations to respond. China is already scrambling to build its own nuclear submarine fleet, but their technology lags behind by decades. Russia is doubling down on hypersonic missiles, hoping to develop something fast enough to counter the Columbia-class. Even smaller nations are rushing to acquire submarine killer technology, desperate to close the gap before it's too late. The world is entering a new Cold War. Except this time, the stakes are even higher. Because when one country develops a weapon this advanced, it creates only two possibilities. One, the Columbia-class maintains peace through absolute fear. Two, the Columbia-class escalates tensions to the point of no return. Which future will we get? No one knows. But we won't have to wait long to find out. Here's the thing no one wants to admit. As terrifying as the Columbia class is, it might not be enough. Yes, it's stealthy. Yes, it's deadly. Yes, it's the most advanced submarine ever built. But what happens when China figures out how to track it? What happens when artificial intelligence, space-based surveillance, and next-gen sonar technology make it possible to find and destroy even the most advanced submarines? Because the moment the Columbia class is no longer invincible, it's just another target. And if that day comes, the entire US nuclear strategy falls apart. The real arms race isn't about building the most powerful submarines. It's about who can make them obsolete first. And that's the war no one is talking about. We are entering a new era of warfare, one where nuclear submarines hold the keys to global power. The Columbia class isn't just a new weapon, it's a declaration, a message to the world that the US will never be outmatched beneath the waves. But here's the question: is this the ultimate deterrent that will keep the world safe? Or is it the beginning of a terrifying new chapter in military escalation? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain: the Columbia class is here. It's launching soon. And once it's in the water, nothing will ever be the same again. What do you think? Does the Columbia class guarantee US dominance, or does it push us closer to conflict? Will China or Russia ever develop a countermeasure, or is this submarine truly invincible? Is this the beginning of a new Cold War, or the key to lasting peace? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because one thing is clear: the future of war is already here.